Hey, you guys, thank you for listening and following along with us here at Wellness Rebranded. We want you to know that this isn't just a podcast, it's a community and a movement. We are unlearning those toxic diet culture messaging, the unhelpful societal pressures, and we're relearning a different way of caring for our health and well-being. And we want to have a two-way communication with you. So we've just created a brand new Instagram page at Wellness Rebranded. We really want you to come follow along, connect with us, talk with us, download our self-care planner while you're there, get on our email list. We have so many fun and valuable things to share with you beyond just our podcast episodes. And this is how we're going to start connecting in a deeper, more meaningful way. So please come follow along.
And let's keep rebranding our wellness journey.
Welcome to Wellness Rebranded, the podcast where a dietitian, a personal trainer, and a mental health therapist get together to explore health and wellness from 3 different healing perspectives. I'm Elizabeth, registered dietitian and certified intuitive eating counselor.
I'm Maria, licensed mental health therapist.
And I'm Tara, personal trainer. We believe in finding ways to nourish a healthy relationship with our mind and body, eating for well-being, not weight, finding joy in moving our bodies, and embracing and understanding our emotions. We are here to help you redesign your relationship with food, fitness, and yourself.
How great would it be if you got science-based guidance from qualified professionals instead of trying out conflicting, overhyped, and unproven trends?
If that sounds as awesome to you as it does to us, join us every week as we dig into strategies to enrich and enhance our day-to-day life and health.
And let's start rebranding your wellness journey.
Hey guys, welcome back to Wellness Rebranded, and I am here with Elizabeth and Maria today, and Maria's got something really cool going on that we wanted to talk about. It's something that I've not seen in any community that I've ever been in before, and I think it's something that's super, super essential. So Maria, tell us what you got going on, girl.
I'm really proud of it.
I am proud of it too.
Awesome. So here's the thing. So I thought before 2024, I've been thinking, how can I spread the message for people to prioritize their mental health, but create a fun series of events, but also accessible? The main thing is to make practical tools for mental health accessible. So I created what I call the Emotional Fitness Studio. So basically, during the year of 2024, every month, there are in-person wellness workshops provided for anyone in the community. They can come enjoy different speakers. I gather and selected and selected and curated. That's the word. Speakers, wellness speakers. So I'm talking psychiatrists, therapists, life coaches, registered dietitians, personal trainers, you name it.
I wonder who those could be.
A medical doctor, to come and really share their best tips for people to learn things that they can include in their day-to-day life to promote their wellness. So I'm super happy. I've had, I believe it's like 10 events already. Every month is about 2 or 3 events. And it's been great. The feedback has been, people really appreciate having a place where they can come, and all the lineup is on my website, on events, and then you can pick and choose. Oh, I'm interested in learning about how to deal with trauma, or I'm interested in learning about grief, how to deal with grief and normalize that many of us go through grief, or I'm interested in learning how to become a better listener to really make our teenagers talk to you more, or even strengthen your relationships with other people, because mostly it's based on listening, FYI, your listening and the listening of the other. And we've had a Zumba class that we're going to have again. So because it's coming from a wholesome perspective, right?
We're going this time.
I will go.
If you need to come,
I just need to get it on my calendar ahead of time. So
Yeah, me too.
And then Tara had a workshop as well, a Tabata party. And then we did a progressive relaxation. We had a sound healing class with yoga. So I want people not only to learn tools, but come and experience. And that's some of the feedback too, is like, oh, I didn't know I needed this until I came. And the way I feel leaving this place.
It's an opportunity to practice self-care,
Exactly.
right?
Yes.
You're providing an opportunity for people to pause
Yes.
and practice some self-care. By the way, we should say, if you want some ideas for practicing self-care, be sure
Yep.
to go to our Instagram page, download our ultimate self-care planner. It's free, but packed with resources.
Yes.
But Maria, back to the matter at hand. What I love about what you're doing also is that it is so accessible. You've got sponsors. It's priced at only $10 per
That's amazing.
per workshop. But tell us how this fits into your bigger mission of your work and your business.
So I'm passionate about mental health, right? And I think all this information that I've learned through my training, but also years of experience, but also as a human being that practice some of this stuff, it sounds, I don't know if it happens to you guys, but sometimes it sounds so simple because you've been saying it or you have that piece of information for years, but then you share it to somebody else and they're like, wow, I didn't know I could do that, or I didn't know that simple practice could really help me feel better. So then I thought, what's going on? Why are we not sharing this more frequently? All this information that is so valuable and can help so many people. So that's what I do with my workshops and classes and training, is really spread the word about what mental health really is. Because you know what happens a lot? I ask people, like, if you hear about mental health or what mental health is on the news and TV shows or whatever, what comes to mind? And usually it's like, I don't know, violence or disorders or depression.
Illness.
It's like the big
Illness.
dramatic things of like the mother who drove her van into the ocean full of kids.
Right.
You know, it's stuff like that. It's
Way to take the tone down.
But it's usually,
I just saw a story about that recently. That's why I thought about it, because I cried for 2 days after that.
but there is a negative connotation sometimes, and it's the stigma surrounds this. And again, I didn't ask mental illness, I asked mental health. Two different things. Mental health is what we want, what we have, and that we can lose if we don't take care of it, like physical health. You have your physical health, but if you're carrying a big box of, like my kid that keeps her backpack weighs like so much, I'm like, sweetie, after all this time you carrying this backpack, you're gonna get your back hurt. I mean, period. The same way with your mental health. It is there, but if you don't take care of it, things can happen. And I guess that perspective came when I started working in an emergency room now for 12 years. I'm like, oh, now I see it. If you don't take care of yourself, it could be that you get to a point that it doesn't look good or feel good at all.
What sparked your interest in mental health in the first place?
That's a good question. Since I was little, I was either going to be a vet or a mental health therapist. And then my dad says, you're not going to be a vet because the school was like 4 hours away. And he didn't want me to move to that place, still within Venezuela by myself. So I'm like, okay, mental health it is, but I always wanted either or. So I really should have been like a mental health vet.
So what got you working in the emergency room?
I was curious about the fast pace of emergency rooms, you know, kind of like as you see on the shows. And I was like, I want to experience that. And I experienced already working at schools, at the jail, at a private practice, a community center. I thought, hey, that's an area I haven't explored. So I applied, I got the job, and it's been 12 years. And I absolutely love it.
I love hearing people that are like so passionate about their purpose.
I love it. So there is a lot of, not a lot, but there is some prevention. There is response to crisis, which is, I guess, what I do in the emergency room. I wanted to find the middle point, which is you're not necessarily preventing. Well, you are, and you're not in crisis, but you can get tools to really apply to your life and prioritize your mental health. Because guess what? You might have, I mean, there's a lot of things you cannot do if you're not well emotionally. A lot of things. And that's with organizations that bring me to their space. It's like, well, you know, but why is mental health important? Oh, sweetheart, very important. Because it helps with productivity, with absenteeism, you know, people missing work, with People not, I mean, we can't separate. That's not true that you leave your problems at home. Who can
Mhm.
do that?
Right.
And that's a message that we hear a lot. Just leave your problems at home. Okay, how exactly do I do that?
Yeah, please. tell
Because
me.
if I'm going through divorce or if I'm going with I just had a
My
loss.
husband seems really good at that.
Really? Or so he thinks.
No, he
Ma-
can compartmentalize like no one I've ever met.
Wow, well, that's a skill.
Somehow that doesn't surprise me knowing Brian.
If it is a skill, now I don't even know if I be a skill because doesn't that leak to other compartments and sometimes you don't even know?
I mean, not.
And then you come home and let's say your wife says something like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't make any dinner for you tonight. And then here comes the blowout, right? And it has nothing to do with dinner. It has to do with that last meeting that you had that had you like in a bad mood. And then you bring that home because are you compartmentalizing in a way that also work stays at work and you don't bring it home? Hard. I'm sure it's possible. I'm not saying it's not, but hard.
Yeah.
So all this to say that
I
it's a
think that's
treat.
even harder since the pandemic. And we all learned that we could work at home and then we stopped having these boundaries of like, dude, I'm off work at 5. It's like, oh, well, I have nothing else to do. I'll just log back in for a little bit.
Oh, the boundaries.
The boundaries got
yes.
totally shifted
Yes.
during the pandemic.
And people feel more burnout because there's not as clear of a division between your boundaries on when do you finish work. You don't even have that drive that sometimes was that separation between work and home. It was whatever drive that you could listen to some music or this podcast and then, distract yourself a little bit. Now my husband comes from the basement and he's like, hi, I'm home.
Hi, honey, I'm still home.
And the boundaries are not that good because he's home.
Yeah.
So if I need to tell him something, what do? Just go downstairs. And if he's not going to meet, I'm like, hey, by the way,
Yeah.
the kids have blah, blah, blah. So there's really no separation there. So it's even harder to separate emotions and not leak again into all these areas.
Yeah, good.
Not, we're not meant for that. I'll tell you that. We're not meant for what we've been doing since COVID. I'm sure for some people works better than before, but mostly what I've heard is not that.
So Maria, obviously your ER work is critically important and you're passionate and excellent at it. I have no doubt. For our listeners who might want to work with you, how do they know that they need you? What type of capacity could they work with you in? And what do you want them to know?
They can work with me through work because of my license. I'm only licensed in Maryland. So when it comes to group therapy or that kind of work, it has to be for locals to the state of Maryland. And I provide support groups for women, as well as sometimes consultation and supervision for people who are local. But anywhere in the country, you can work with me through a workshop or a training. And the way I've been doing it is, again, like organizations that want to bring a retreat to their staff and then bring this knowledge or the experience of learning how to take care of yourself. We're talking about boundaries, how to set boundaries in a healthy way that it's also going to support and promote your well-being. It can be, there's training, there's one called Mental Health First Aid that trains people how to approach others who are struggling and what to do. Because sometimes we want to help other people and we know they're struggling, but we don't know how to do it.
No, I think that's so helpful.
It's super helpful, especially with kids. I get contacted a lot by parents. How do I approach my kid? How do I know my kid is well? How do I start that conversation? How do I even find a therapist? All these things, people reach out for help.
So people can reach out to you for a one-to-one session for a consultation like that?
In Maryland.
Only in Maryland?
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's for a workshop or a training session or a retreat, in this case, it could be virtual if you're far away, but otherwise it can be, yes, it could be.
And I know you've done it for companies, you've done it for church groups. What other types of organizations can you go into? Schools,
I can go
parent
into
groups,
schools,
PTA, teachers.
Yes, yep, any of that, right?
Maria, before we end this, let's do 2 truths and a lie.
Okay.
I feel like Maria's gonna trick us.
I know she is.
Truths and a lie.
Maria's
It's all
like
gonna be true.
International woman of mystery over there.
Okay, So one thing is that I did parachuting once. I
Okay.
You
jumped from-
jumped out of an airplane?
I jumped out of an
Skydiving
airplane.
or parachuting?
Well, I jumped out of an airplane, and a few seconds later, the parachute opened.
That's called skydiving, right?
Skydiving, yeah.
Okay, skydiving once.
Okay, since you didn't know what it's called, I'm going, that's a lie, but keep going.
Number two, I'm a flamenco dancer.
Mm.
Flamenco is a dance from Spain, and there's a lot of footwork and castanets and that kind of stuff. Number three, besides Spanish, I also speak Italian.
I knew she was gonna stump us.
I know.
Cause I know you're an excellent dancer, but that's a very specific type of dancing that I feel like you're tricking us on.
I think you are a flamenco dancer.
So what's the lie?
I think the
Also
lies.
speaks Italian. I kind of feel like if you actually have skydived and haven't told us by now.
Yeah, then what
then
kind of
I'm pretty
relationship
upset
is
about you.
this?
So I'm going with number one.
I am too.
Losers!
Have you been skydiving?
Yes, I'll bring the pictures next time.
When and how and why the heck has this never come up?
I don't know. I was like, let me see, I came to this country when I was 23, and that was before that. So let's say 21 years old. February of whatever year, I jumped from an airplane. Is the best experience I've had, because you're in an
Was the airplane being like shot down or something?
No,
Were you in a war zone?
it was a tiny airplane, and it was super loud, like that. And then the second you jump, is complete
How high up were you?
silence. I don't know, 4,000, so something, I don't know.
And was it tandem, like someone was on your back?
No.
What?
No, they hold the thing for you, and when you jump, they let it go, like a little, I don't know, like a secure, I don't know. I jump by myself, and then a few seconds later, the thing opens on its own.
You didn't do anything.
I
And
didn't
let
do
me get this straight.
anything.
Somebody was holding the other end of the rope?
No,
This sounds
I'm sure
terrifying.
people that know
Oops,
about
sorry,
this
I dropped
know
it.
where- No, you jump on your own. You have to hold, and that's the hardest part when they say go, and you know you're
What
letting
country
go.
were you in?
In Venezuela.
This story gets scarier
I'll
and
tell you that.
scarier.
Now that I have kids, I'll never do it again. That's a fact.
Yeah,
But I did. And I am a flamenco dancer.
I knew
people.
that.
Oh, you knew?
Uh-huh.
And how
Oh,
long
yeah, you know.
will flamenco and hip hop, are you gonna bring a little flamenco vibes into this recital coming up?
Maybe.
Ooh.
Maybe.
You should do a flamenco class for us in the emotional fitness
I
studio.
could, but it's hard. You need special shoes, and it's not that, it's like, it's not like tango that you can pull into in one class. I don't know. Maybe.
I'm
But
also
yes,
open to learning tango.
Me too.
Oh, I
I
wanna
would
learn how
love
to do
to.
that. I
Oh,
think it looks so
fun.
cool.
We
when
should do
people
this.
that.
Yes, let's do it.
Wow, so you totally stumped us. I did not know that about you. I kind of want her to go again.
I know.
2 more truths and a lie.
I know that learning Italian is hard, like,
I figured
'Cause
it's
I
so
speak
close to
Spanish.
though.
and I went to Italy thinking, oh, I'm gonna speak Italian because they're like super similar. And like,
Nope.
spoiler, they're not.
Also, doesn't
Nope.
your mom live in Italy? Or no, she lives in
Spain.
Spain. Oh,
No, it's
you
not. very simple.
overachiever. you.
No.
Well, Maria, I would like to see that photo.
Oh, I'm gonna
Same.
bring it.
Will you
Oh.
share that on Instagram with our listeners?
Yes. Oh,
Yes.
yes. It's like, if you want to know what this photo is about, listen to this episode.
Join us on Instagram at Wellness Rebranded because
Yes.
that's where all the cool stuff goes down.
I'll share a picture of my reef tank.
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
That's hilarious.
I got nothing. I'll show you my pretty gardens.
Your bees.
Way to go. Wait, that might have been one of my 2 truths and
It
a lie.
wasn't. Spoiler.
Anyway.
Episode yet. Pick a different thing.
Oh, Lord.
Not that exciting. I only have a few interesting things to share.
I actually have a really interesting thing about you, but I'll tell you off the air.
All right, everyone.
You have an
Thank you for
interesting thing about
listening.
me.
These two,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know,
okay.
I'm
Well,
the I'm
I
the
am
one
curious.
that puts order in here. Until
Maria,
next
thank
time.
you for teaching us about who you are and how we can work with you and why you do what you do.
Mhm.
We love you. We love you, listeners. Thank you for joining us on this episode.
Maria, what's the best way for them to connect with you if they want to hire you, and they should?
Instagram, coaching_therapist, my website, coachingtherapist.com. That's it.
we'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you for listening. If you want to connect with me outside of this podcast, you can find me on Instagram at coaching_therapist.
I'm Elizabeth. You can find me at Elizabeth Harris Nutrition or in my Facebook group, Health and Healing with Intuitive Eating.
And I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Tara De Leon Fitness. Guys, if you loved this episode or any of our other episodes, we would love it if you would leave us a review on Apple Podcast. It really, really helps us get the non-diet word out to the rest of the world. So please leave us a review.
Yes, thank you.